Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Wednesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at a forecast update regarding the incoming storms and the forecast uncertainty for lowland snow and Arctic air. So let's start here with the nighttime satellite imagery. You can see we've got a lot of low clouds and fog across parts of Western Washington this morning, with some fog stretching from Olympia up through Tacoma, Federal Way, SeaTac, parts of Seattle and Bremerton and Puget Sound area, all the way up to Admiralty Inlet and out into the Strait. That is causing some impacts this morning. So you can see here a lot of places, especially in the metro area, that have very low visibility. You're looking at 0.06 mile visibility at SeaTac Airport, which is very, very little visibility there. And you can see about half mile in Bremerton, quarter mile in Tacoma. So some areas have some pretty dense fog this morning, and something that's making this a little bit hazardous is the fact that our temperatures currently are below freezing for many areas, except some areas here around downtown Seattle and SeaTac Airport, which are in the mid-30s. Most areas like Federal Way and Tacoma and Olympia, Bremerton, the eastern lowlands that could have some fog, are below freezing. So any of that fog could be freezing fog, and that is definitely hazardous. Can cause a lot of ice issues, especially on overpasses and stuff like that. Outside of the fog, you can see a lot of cold temperatures at this hour, about 7 a.m., like Arlington down to 19 degrees, 23 there in Bellingham. But you can also see we have a bit of a temperature inversion going on. If you take a look at some of these temperatures in the Olympic Mountains there, they're warmer than the lowlands here, and then the same thing here in some of the Cascades. You got a few 40s actually showing up, so a pretty strong inversion going on with this cold air trapped down here near the surface with those lows in the upper teens to the low 30s. And a way to kind of visualize this is by taking a look at the air quality map. You can see that we have some really nice air quality in the mountains, nice and clean air. But if you zoom in here to parts of the metro area, looking at Everett, Seattle, and Tacoma, especially between Seattle and Tacoma there, you can see air quality in the moderate to unhealthy categories there. And that is especially noticeable there, especially along I-5 and in some of the lower elevations there. You can see even parts of the eastern lowlands just a little bit higher up, like 500 to 800 feet, have some pretty clean air. But if we zoom into Seattle and Tacoma and Olympia, you can see that air quality is degraded. Thankfully, that will clear out over the next couple of days. So as you can see here, we're going to play through the European model precipitation forecast here. As we get to Thursday evening, you can see that rain will start spreading across western Washington with mountain snow as well, and that will intensify into early Friday morning, with rain and mountain snow continuing all the way through Friday. Maybe a little bit of break in the afternoon, then picking up again in the evening. And then precipitation will turn a little bit more showery as we go through Saturday. And with colder temperatures, we may have some areas of snow. And then, as you can see, we go through into Sunday morning there, and as this atmospheric river pivots inland over northern California and southern Oregon, may bring some snow to parts of eastern Washington, some snow showers to western Washington. This is getting a little bit more uncertain. Even though we're only 140 hours out, it's still getting to be kind of uncertain based on how some of the forecasts have been flip-flopping. Then you can see this next low pressure system here that's kind of weak, but will bring some precipitation riding up into the area that will have some colder temperatures, and that could potentially bring some areas of lowland snow. So let's take a look a little bit further at that here in a moment. First, I want to take a look at temperatures today. We'll be getting a little bit warmer there with highs in the mid to upper 40s. We cool down a bit on Thursday as clouds start to move in with highs in the mid 40s. Friday, as we have the frontal system moving through, that warm front will help bring temperatures up to the upper 40s to low 50s. And then we crash back down after that front there on Saturday with highs only in the low 40s. Some areas may only reach the upper 30s. Those chillier high temperatures will allow for some potential snow showers in the lowlands on Saturday. Sunday, you can see the trend continues, temperatures dropping even more as some of that Arctic air moves closer with highs in the upper 30s to low 40s. And then as we go a little bit more uncertain into Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday there, you can see potential for highs only being in the mid-30s across western Washington into next week. And when we take a look at low temperatures, you can see Thursday morning will likely be our last chilly morning for a couple of days here. You can see lows in the upper 20s to low 30s across western Washington tomorrow morning. Then Friday morning, with that front moving through, you can see the lows increase to the mid-30s to low 40s across the region. However, as after the front passes Saturday, you can see temperatures drop. Those lows are pretty marginal for snow, but you may have a few places where the temperature is able to get below freezing under some heavier showers that could bring some brief snow accumulations. And you can see it gets a little bit more uncertain as we go into Sunday and then Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. But if some of this Arctic air is able to make it somewhat close, an average of the forecast is what we're looking at here. And this shows lows anywhere from the upper teens to the mid-20s across western Washington. Could be colder than this, could be a little bit warmer than this. We're not really sure at this time, so stay tuned for more on the temperature information as well. Let's go through this briefly with our upcoming storm from Thursday evening to Saturday. We will get a decent amount of rain, especially considering we've had almost no rain for the last couple of weeks. You can see Seattle and Tacoma and Olympia getting over 1 inch of rain. Same for most of the I-5 corridor, between 0.8 and 1.5 inches of rain, coast 1.5 to 2 inches of rain, and then this is going to be a decent amount of snow in the mountains here. So take a look at this. Through Sunday night, places like Snoqualmie Pass, Stevens Pass, and White Pass will be getting about 30 inches of snow. So 24 to 30 inches is likely for the mountain passes through the next few days here. So definitely expect some travel disruptions, especially on Friday and Saturday. This snow is definitely needed for our mountains, but it will be a lot at one time, and it will likely cause some impacts. And you can see the European model trying to pick up on some areas of accumulating snow with some of those showers moving through Sunday night there. Saturday and Sunday nights possibly, we'll see. And you can see it's trying to show some heavier showers with some cooler temperatures from Everett northward that could bring some snow accumulation. This is possible up toward Whatcom County, but we're still, even though it's only 120 hours out, this is only a few days from now, it's still too uncertain to say with any sense of certainty how much snow we're going to get. So let's take a look here a little bit more in depth here. We're looking at Saturday morning here, and we're looking at temperatures. You can see as we go through Saturday morning, about 8 a.m. there, you can see we have some areas near 34, 33 degrees. You can get snow under heavy precipitation with those temperatures. However, as we go through the day, we start to warm up with highs reaching the 40s there by the afternoon. And then but then as we go into Saturday night, we're going to drop down, and you can see that most of the area reaches 29 to 32 degrees. If any showers move through with these temperatures, especially if they're a little bit heavier, they can draw down the temperatures just a little bit more and bring some brief snow. Could accumulate on some of the higher hills. You can see as we go into Sunday morning, there we have lows near freezing or below freezing for most of the area. And then take a look at Sunday during the day. Highs stay pretty chilly in Whatcom County there due to the Fraser River outflow, and that could bring some accumulating snow. So let's take a look at, that's basically what we're looking at there. You can see, I'm not going to show this for a lot of places, but this is the Ensemble forecast for SeaTac Airport, and you can see some of the ensembles try to pick up on some of the snow with those showers moving through on Saturday into Sunday. You can see there's not very much confidence for that around Seattle. This would be a little bit higher around Bellingham, but still, what I wanted to use this for is to show that there's still a huge amount of uncertainty. The blue is the control run, which is the initial conditions best we know them, and then the green here is the average of all of the ensemble forecasts, and you can see there's just a huge spread in this still. You have some members that are showing huge snow amounts that are not going to happen. You have other members that are showing a 1/4 inch of snow, and you have a good spread in between there. So basically, it's still too far out to tell anything with certainty regarding the weekend potential snow in those showers behind the front, and any snow coming next week with Arctic air moving in. So let's take a look at that. We're looking at the European model here on the left and the GFS model on the right. Here. So the GFS model shows this polar lobe pretty close to western Washington, while the European model, which is generally much more accurate than the GFS model, we're using here for comparison sense, shows the polar lobe being pretty far offshore, which allows it to warm up and makes that air moving into western Washington not as cold, making it a very marginal snow setup at best. So you can see that we're only 140 hours out in this forecast, and there's some pretty substantial disagreement as to where this polar lobe is. So stay tuned over the next couple of days as we try to get this a little bit more refined. As more and more forecast models come in, as high resolution models start to come into range, we should get a better idea of what's going to be happening here. So this is something we talked about yesterday. I just want to look at it again. This is a cross-section of temperature. This is pretty high up in the atmosphere. This is the surface here. This change here between purple and this greenish white there is where it reaches freezing. This is looking at SeaTac Airport. You can see the nights coming up next week that will be below freezing, and that's where we could have some snow potential. But you can see it's pretty marginal. It gets above freezing almost every day. Take a look at this in Olympia. You can see a similar thing, still getting above freezing pretty much every day with that Arctic air. But then take a look at Bellingham, where you're exposed to that Fraser River outflow that's much colder, and you can stay below freezing for a few days. So that kind of shows you the uncertainty that we're dealing with, and how in a marginal snow setup like what we could be seeing over the next few days, you're looking at some places like Seattle and Olympia being above and below freezing, kind of bouncing back and forth there, versus somewhere not that far away like Bellingham staying below freezing the whole time and possibly getting much more snow. So this is something we're also going to keep watching over the next few days. So as always, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube. I just reached 900 subscribers yesterday, so I was pretty excited about that. I would love to reach 1,000 over the next few days to month here. So please be sure to subscribe, ring that notification bell, and like and share these videos. Comment here if you have any questions as well. And be sure to follow me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, and in the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. The links to all of these are in the description. With this active weather and potential Arctic air and snow and all of this setup coming up, I will be sure to be doing videos pretty frequently here, hopefully every day if I am able to. So stay tuned, and I will talk to you all soon.